The grand estate of Briarhold stood as a solitary sentinel against the encroaching gloom of the Blackwood. Its grey stone walls, etched with the passage of time, loomed over the rolling moorlands. The estate was ancient, its history woven into the very fabric of Eldermere. Generations of the esteemed Eldred lineage had walked its halls. Now, young Aeldric, the last of his line, was poised to inherit Briarhold. Aeldric was a sombre youth, his gaze often distant. He bore the weight of his lineage with a quiet stoicism. He had spent his childhood within the estate walls. Stories of the Blackwood and its lurking shadows had been his only companions. The villagers spoke of the forest in hushed tones. They spun tales of ancient magic, forgotten deities, and things best left undisturbed. Aeldric, however, felt a strange pull towards the mysteries of the Blackwood. The whispers of the wind through the ancient trees seemed to beckon him. He was drawn to its untamed beauty, its aura of forgotten secrets. Little did he know the forest held a destiny far more sinister than he could have imagined. His inheritance, it seemed, came at a terrible price. A change swept over Briarhold with the passing of Aeldric's father. The old lord, once full of life, had succumbed to a swift and mysterious illness. His death cast a pall over the estate. The air grew heavy, thick with a sense of foreboding. Strange occurrences plagued the inhabitants. Whispers seemed to emanate from the empty corridors. Unexplained cold draughts chilled the air. Objects moved without reason. Shadows danced at the edge of vision. The servants, their faces pale and drawn, spoke of unseen presences. They shared fearful glances amongst themselves. Aeldric, though shaken, refused to succumb to fear. He dismissed the events as tricks of the grieving mind. He reasoned that the weight of his new responsibilities was playing tricks on the senses. He would not be swayed by superstition. One night, however, his resolve was tested. A piercing scream shattered the silence of the manor. He rushed towards the source, his heart pounding in his chest. He found his old nursemaid, her face contorted in terror. She pointed a trembling finger at the end of the hallway. "The Hollow Man!" she gasped, her voice hoarse with fear. "I saw him!" The Hollow Man was a figure of dread in Eldermere folklore. Legends spoke of a spectral entity, a being devoid of substance, yet possessing a chilling presence. Villagers whispered of its hollow eyes, windows into a void of despair. Some claimed it was the spirit of a long-dead sorcerer. Others believed it to be a vengeful entity born of the Blackwood's ancient magic. According to legend, the Hollow Man wandered the Blackwood seeking souls to claim. It was said to prey on those who strayed from the path, those who dared to venture into the forest's depths alone. Its victims would vanish without a trace. Only whispers of their fate remained. Aeldric had dismissed these stories as mere superstition. He had always prided himself on his rationality. But the terror in his nursemaid's eyes, the palpable fear that clung to her like a shroud, sowed seeds of doubt in his mind. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Determined to prove the absurdity of the situation, Aeldric decided to investigate. Armed with a lantern and a sword, he ventured into the Blackwood. He told himself he was simply looking for a logical explanation. He was not seeking out the mythical Hollow Man. He was not... The Blackwood was a place of unsettling beauty. Towering trees, their branches gnarled and twisted, formed a canopy overhead. The sun struggled to penetrate the thick foliage. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. An unnatural silence hung in the air, broken only by the sound of his own footsteps. As he ventured deeper into the forest, Aeldric felt a growing sense of unease. The shadows seemed to deepen, pressing in on him. The forest felt alive, watching him with unseen eyes. He could hear his heart pounding in his ears. Then he saw it. A figure stood in the distance, shrouded in shadow. It was tall and gaunt, its form wavering like smoke in the moonlight. 2 points of light, cold and piercing, stared back at him. The Hollow Man Fear, primal and consuming, gripped Aeldric. He wanted to run, to flee back to the familiar safety of Briarhold. But his feet felt rooted to the spot. He was frozen, trapped in the gaze of the spectral being. Time seemed to stand still. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the figure vanished. Aeldric stood there, his breath catching in his throat. He was alone, surrounded by the oppressive silence of the Blackwood. He had looked into the abyss, and the abyss had looked back.